And there we are.
I think we are live.
That should be good. Steve Dotto here. How the heck are you doing this fine day? Hey, everybody, and welcome to our live stream. This is something a little bit different for us today. We have decided to go live to our smaller YouTube channel and to our Facebook community to talk about baby boomers building businesses, baby boomers and Gen Xers building businesses online. And with me, of course, is April. How are you doing, April?
Hey.
Happy Friday to everybody. We're looking forward to this weekend. Now, are you, just out of curiosity, are you going to do Halloween at your house?
No, no, my son is having 2 friends that he's been with for this kind of whole school year piece, and they're going to do a fire, and we're doing mummy dogs and food creations and lots of candy and scary movies. So no.
Okay. Very cool. We're actually, Shannon and I had a talk, and we normally do it, but there's not many kids that trick or treat anymore, even pre-COVID. So we're actually going to leave the porch light off for the first time in my life. I'm leaving the porch light off, and we're not going to give out any candy. We're just gonna shut things down.
Actually, and it's funny you say that, because my mother lives in a neighborhood where literally she gets 100 kids, and it's her favorite thing to see the kids. And so but my stepfather's health compromised, so I think they're shutting the light off too.
Yeah,
it's
kind of sad.
Bad. It is
next year.
Very sad.
Next year, the trick or treaters can come back. We'll have some awesome stuff for them. Hey, so here's the reason that we did this, that we are sharing this live stream with you today. For the last 2 weeks, we've delivered over 3 times now a webinar which is designed to teach baby boomers and Gen X the kind of the skills they need, the keys they need to take their experience, their knowledge, and all of their history and build an online business. And the webinar was focused on both people who are tire kickers and just thinking about building an online business and haven't done anything in online, but are just in that exploratory phase. And it was also there to serve the people who actually have an online business going already and are looking to up their game. We're always looking to increase our skill set, are we not, when it comes to the world of online business? It's a moving target, and it was also aimed at them. And so this webinar was built as part of the launch sequence as we released to the public for the first time this week our community, which is a business community designed to teach and support that exact group, baby boomers and Gen X, who want to build an online business. And we called the group the Gray Wave. And we originally launched it as a private group, as a special to a founders group in June. And we began populating content into it. We brought about 120 people in right from the very beginning. We brought about 70 people in from the beginning. We had a few other people that were on our wait list or our early bird that would join in September. But from June, July, August, with the beta group, we basically figured out how we were going to teach, what we were going to teach, and how we were going to deliver that content, and how we were going to nurture the community and how the community would work. We wanted to make sure that the things that we thought would be in place are in place, and we wanted to make sure we were delivering the kind of value that we wanted to deliver. And I would say we were successful in that. I believe that we did a really good job. We had a wonderful community of founders who gave us so much feedback, and it was a collaborative effort. As we would present something, every week we had kind of a follow-up meeting where we would have like a post-mortem on that week's lesson or that type of content that we'd had to determine how it lands, how it was delivered. So it came together very well from that perspective. So in September, we brought in our second flight of people who were the early birds, people who had committed on, and that was about 40 people more that we added in September. I think we had 37 people more, 37. I know the exact number because it's tagged in Infusionsoft. We had 37 or more people that came on. And so we ingested the first people into a community, because when you build a business community, a membership site, there's a lot of little things that people do, how they get in, what their onboarding sequence is like, how you make sure that they get accepted by the community, how they discover things, because a lot of the community members are already well down the path, and then you've got new people that are starting out. So you want to make sure you serve both. So we did that through September, brought the first, the early birds on. And then towards the end of October, just last week, we opened it up to the general public with this webinar. And so that was our launch sequence going ahead. And we're really pleased. We've got 40 people or so, I think, have signed up since we did the launch, which is a terrific number. Where the thing is, it's not just like a simple course where you just sign up and you start taking the content. We have to get to know you. So we've been working our butts off getting to know everybody. It's like a great big meet and greet all the time going on as we meet people. As a matter of fact, April just got off of a Zoom call with about 35 people as she was taking them through and showing them the basis of the community itself. So having done all of that, what we discovered during the webinar is we taught so much, and there was so much information that we were sharing that we were a little bit overwhelmed with the number of questions that people had. So we decided to have this as an extra live stream, especially for those of you who have taken the webinar and have questions about an online business, but it also gives us an opportunity to open the eyes of a few people who might not know that we are now doing this community for baby boomers and Gen X. So I'm here to answer your questions. I'm going to keep my eye on the questions, and
well, I think some of the questions I actually answered Bob's question. So
okay, good stuff.
I think one of the most commonly asked questions that we've had about it has really been about what types of content modules are inside the membership, and what people should expect when they get inside.
And how a membership differs from a course. That's one thing that I've seen a couple of questions in as well. So we had a couple of different ways we could approach this. When we started, and when we identified that baby boomers and Gen X were the target, were our avatar, were the people who we wanted to help support and wanted to teach about online business and bring along the path. Our very first foray into determining whether or not this community was the right community to do some sort of online training is we signed up last year. Oh, it's almost 2 years ago now, isn't it? As an affiliate for Marie Forleo's B School. And we promoted B School and supported a cohort going through. And we had about 40 people, I think, that signed up in that age demographic and took B School. Now, B School is kind of a classic course. It's a 8-week course that's spread over 6 modules with where you take people on a path. You start them with, we're going to teach you this. And once you learn this, then that will teach you this. We'll teach you the next thing. And you take people through a path to which has a beginning and an end. And it was great going through it with the community. But the world of online business is different because so many of us work in so many different areas. Within B School and within our community, we've got people who are tour guides and we have fitness coaches. I mean, could 2 different businesses be different? You have people we have authors, and we have people who teach mindset. Healthy mindset. So we've got people that do all walks of life is what I'm saying. So creating a course that serves that entire community is really difficult. But the principles of online business, the 4 foundational properties that we actually teach 4 foundational properties of online business. The fact that you need a product, you need to have something that you sell, you need to have a presence, you need to have an online presence so people can discover you. You need to have a process. You need to have an infrastructure of software and tools and a process for people to go through so that they can do business with you and you can communicate with them and educate them and bring them into your community. And then you have to have a promotional strategy. You have to have a way to get the word out to where your presence is so people can actually decide to follow you and ultimately buy whatever it is that you are offering. So those are the kind of those 4 foundational principles can be applied in a different order and with slightly different weight and even different techniques depending on what your business looks like. So rather than put together a course that we would lead people through and try and force people to follow the same path when stuff was relevant or not, we built a community where we every month focus on one content area and teach that area. And then that teaching then becomes entrenched and archived as a part of a learning library that grows and grows over time. And we don't expect anybody to come in and be able to say, within 2 weeks, go through all of our content and then become an online business expert. But this supports the process. It's a lifelong learning type thing where we expect our community members to be with us for a minimum of 6 to 8 months to many, many years, I would hope for some of them, depending on how they use the networking opportunities within our Facebook group, which is amazing. And if they keep finding new value in the new content that we drop. But so each month, we look at a different aspect of online business and we take a deep dive into one aspect. The month that's just ending, October, our content was all about list building. How about how you build your email list? Something that almost every online business needs to pay tremendous attention to. And if you can up your list building game, everything gets supported better because you have more traffic coming, you have more qualified people coming and discovering you, and you have an opportunity to do business. It's a wonderful, wonderful discipline to have, doing good, consistent list building. And we focus for the entire month of October on teaching that. Next month, we're going to be talking about how you build your website, which again, so many different ways for people to build their website. Some are going to dive in and do the WordPress themselves. Some people are going to sign up and use different tools, and even tools that maybe might not be website design tools per se, like a Kajabi or something, but they're going to design their website and host in that. They have to know the principles of what you need to have in a business website, what features have to be in there, and then understand what to ask for or what to look for in the tool they use, and then how to do the entire planning process so that it's not a Frankenstein of a website where you keep plugging things in, but you have a nice cohesive website. You want a great example? Take a look at our website. It's designed by the person who's teaching that module, Liz Azian, who went through and completely lifted my game up as far as our web offering by following the design principles. So each one of these modules, you might not be ready to do list building when you first start, but at some point in the business cycle, you are going to want to really up your list building game. The list building module will now be there. So that's how we're structuring the entire course as we're putting it together.
And let's see.
So am I a little bit out of sync today? We're using, what camera do I have? Let me take a look. Yeah, well, if I am a little bit out of sync, that is due to the vagaries of the internet, and I apologize, but there's nothing I can do. That's it. So we just hope for the best sometimes.
Don't stare at his mouth.
Okay, am I back in sync now?
No. Another question was, in terms of skill level, what type of skill level do people need to join the group?
As far as I'm concerned, one of the things about online business is it's not what it's not what you know. It's your capacity to learn is probably the most important thing. Your capacity to deal with change. The most important thing that baby boomers and Gen X bring to an online business is our experience, is this wealth of knowledge that we have from our past life and all of that. That's our stock and trade. That's the product that we're ultimately going to be selling. We might not know what that looks like yet, and we do help you coach through that. So your how far you have to be down the path. I think that the ideal, kind of the earliest that people would consider joining our program would be that you've determined that you want to build financial security and independence by having your own business. The real genesis of this course came from the recognition that ageism is real, and that baby boomers and Gen X are being increasingly marginalized by the workforce, and we're often being forced into a reluctant retirement. And that is just not cool, as far as I'm concerned. We should have. When I was growing up, everybody retired at 65. I mean, most of us, certainly baby boomers and Gen X, will realize there was an age of retirement of 65. And in 1965, if a man retired at the age of 65 in Canada, I have the Canadian stats on this. A man retiring at the age of 65 in 1965, guess how many years he lived on average? Guess what his average life expectancy was at that point?
I don't know.
4 years, 3 or 4 years. So somebody, I think it was 4 years is the total, but that was the life expectancy. A person at 65 today, we've still got a life expectancy of around 20 years. That's a lot of time. And so we're not ready to hang them up. I don't know about you, but first of all, financially, I really don't want to live off of my savings at this point. B, I would be bored to death. I want to be relevant. I think I've got a lot to offer to my community, to my family. I want to be a player to my last day. And so if I rely on somebody else to hire me, if I rely on a job, and the ageism is now that increasingly that specter hanging over all of us, and for a lot of people, they say, okay, so you've retired from being an engineer, building bridges and keeping people safe your whole life. Now you're retired. Good for you, Steve. Hey, great jobs at Amazon, driving and doing delivery. How do you feel about that? There you go. or Uber driver, perhaps. How would you like to do that? Maybe you can, we've got some security guard jobs at the mall. We could do that. What the hell? Who wants that? You want to keep learning. You want to keep delivering value that you've worked so hard to accumulate over the years. So in many ways, the gray wave is backlash to that. It's like, wait a minute, I am not going to be marginalized. I'm not going to be minimalized. I've still got a lot to give, and it's time to do that. So if you are at the point where that pisses you off, the concept of being maybe pushed out of your job or moved aside, and the prospects are some gig economy job that you just are not interested in doing because it doesn't allow you to bring your true skill set to the fore. If you're at that point, this is for you, because we will teach you all the basic principles of building an online business, and you will understand how they work. There's a misconception that I think is prevalent, that the online business world is the domain of millennials. And that's because we see guys like Ty Lopez and these sorts of millennials that irritate the shit out of us, all online, and they're telling about this with their Lamborghini in their garage saying, I did this all online and you can too. And we're all going, well, that just doesn't resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. But for every Ty Lopez there's also a Steve Dotto out there. Somebody with a lot of gray who's making a great living online and has broken the code, understands it, and is more than willing to share that code with you. Within the Gray Wave, we show you that code. We teach you how to build the online business. And the thing is, the reason we called it the Gray Wave is baby boomers and Gen X, we've got the experience. We have the resources. We have the connections. We have the financial capital to do things. We have the work ethic to do it. And so I call it the Gray Wave because the internet is not going to know what's coming. This wave is going to sweep over the online space. And I think within 5 years from now, baby boomers, you'll be seeing Newsweek and Time and these people talking about the gray wave, about all of the baby boomers who are now taking over the online business space. And probably we're going to hear the millennials whining about that as well.
Awesome. I think you should drop the link in so everybody can see it. Are you streaming on your personal page too?
No, on my own personal, no. The only places we're streaming right now are to the Steve Dotto YouTube channel, which is the one that we use for the podcast and for the Gray Wave stuff, and to the Gray Zone on Facebook. Just to those two to those two channels, I believe. Oh, and also to the Dotto Tech page, to the Dotto Tech page. So we got 3 pages.
Okay. There was just some comments that I was trying to figure out where they were coming from. So.
Oh, David's one of our newest members. I just turned 69 and I'm looking at adding and growing an online business so I can get out of debt and ready. So David's on the Freedom 95 plan.
I'm with Canada you,
for years. There were TV commercials called Freedom 55, which ran when I was younger. It was all about how you could have enough money to retire at 55, which I don't know what you would do then if you retired at 55, especially now when you can't travel. But David, we're thrilled to have you on board. Welcome. And I don't know, did David take in your training today? Yeah, I hope he did. Good stuff.
Let's see. So there's a question. There's a question that from a Facebook user, and I'm gonna go to that page. That's from Susan Wheeler Hall. Hi, from Ontario. I'm really on the fence because I'm down the path at this point. I have a small web biz and make websites and online courses for folks, but I suck at marketing and sales. So a lot of the tech training would not be needed. Can you comment on or talk to that?
Is this the one here? Oh, it just went.
It's a Facebook user. So, hi, I'm from Ontario. Yep, that one. Yep, you were on the right one. Yep.
Oh, I see. Oh, but it doesn't show the whole. It just
yeah.
That's a shame that Facebook doesn't tell me who the person is. Because on YouTube, I see
she's in a group. She's in the Gray Zone group. That's why her name is
group. But if people are on the Dotto Tech page, we get them. Okay, that's good to know. We're still learning some of these idiosyncrasies.
So it's Susan, by the way.
Yeah, Susan. Well, Susan, thanks for joining us. You, as far as I'm concerned, you are one of the people who we built this for, because we all have different strengths and weaknesses, including myself. One of the things that I did when we launched the Gray Wave is we hired sales consultants to teach me how to sell it more effectively, because I'm really good at teaching. I really suck at sales. It sounds like you might have some of the same some of the same personality traits as I do. So what the group will teach you is it will talk to you about the techniques that you're going to need to use or that you can use that will help you generate the traffic you need for the business to be more successful. If you decide you want to scale and you want to bring in subcontractors and do that work, we talk about those aspects. But certainly how you promote your product, how you promote yourself online, how you find a community and build a community and support that community, and which platform is going to work best for you. Ultimately, we call our system the social system, because almost everything we do, we need a social network to reach out to grow our community. So the old school advertising, you used to be able to buy an ad in the yellow pages or put a sign up out in front of your house or in front of your business, maybe buy some radio or television ads if you had a business in a local marketplace. Those were the mechanisms that business kind of ran on from all of our experience for our whole life. We saw businesses being run that way. In the online world, that sign on the street, that message, that the yellow pages or the radio and television ads, those are the social platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So how do you get on those platforms, and how do you get the proper messaging out? Because it's different. Whereas before, it used to be just push. Everything was pushed out to you. There'd be a sign. You'd spend a lot of time worrying about the wording of your sign or the wording of your yellow pages ad. There used to be that was a huge industry, and it wasn't that long ago that yellow pages was huge. Did you remember? I mean, I bet some of you remember for your own local businesses, just so worried over the yellow pages ad, because that was it for a year and it generated so much of our business. But that now has all changed. So that experience that we have, we can't translate a lot of those things into this modern world, because we no longer just push out an advertisement. Our relationship with our customers is now a conversation, because every one of these platforms enable us to engage in a conversation with people. So you've got to get comfortable with that and learn those skills. So would I say somebody like Susan would be an ideal candidate? I would say so. If you haven't seen the webinar, Susan, I think we still have a replay available for a few more hours. Maybe if you're on Facebook there, April, you could share the link with her so she could watch the webinar. I'd love you to go through the content because the webinar does a great job of, pat myself on the back. It does a great job because we worked on it so hard, but I think it does a good job of outlining the entire process for you, the challenges we face as a generation, the things that are holding us back, and what we have to do to overcome those, and then giving you an idea of the infrastructure that we teach on how to build an online business.
All right. It looks like there's a question from Jim.
Okay.
I'm an independent travel advisor for a large host company. As an independent, could this help me build an online business for connections, or is this just for retail online businesses? No, it's kind of perfect. So many of us who already have a job are looking for a side hustle. We're looking to kind of build something off the side of our desk that gives us a soft landing place when we're done. And I kind of reading between the lines, I'm thinking that may be the sort of thing that you want to do is while you're working for your contractor or under your contract, you still want to be able to create a bit of a presence yourself that gives you some equity down the road, and that would be perfect. So many of us start our business when we're already working for somebody else and when we're already doing something. The Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it all the time. It's called a side hustle. That's the most common term for it. But it means it's a passion project. It's a revenue generator that a lot of us hope will convert from a project into our main gig. And that gives us the freedom. It's something that we've built ourselves. I'm going to tell you one thing. As I was writing the webinar and putting the content together, I came to a couple of really nice introspective moments. And one was, since I've built my online business, and it was a struggle. It took me 10 years to get to where we are now. The first 4 years were a struggle. The last 6 years has been overcoming the struggle that I had for the first 4 years. And the reason the first 4 years was a struggle was I came from television and radio, and I was trying to apply the skills that I'd learned there online. And while those skills you would think are perfect, and they are as far as doing a broadcast and presentation, the actual business smarts that I had, I needed a lot of learning, but I kept trying to do things the old way, and it was a mistake. But I've learned from it. Where was I? When I look back now, 10 years down the road of having my own online business, even though I ran a very successful media company and I had a successful television show, a radio show, I had a national syndicated newspaper column, I never felt financial security, even though we ran for 2 decades.
We kept the business going and we were profitable, but I never felt secure. The reason is my future always hinged on somebody else's decision. The programmers at the network, the editors at the newspaper, the higher ups at the radio station, they all held my future in the palm of their hand. And there was nothing I could do if they decided that they didn't want me that would sway them, no matter how profitable, no matter how popular our show was, no matter how well we did with sponsors. If they decided, if somebody, or the sponsors themselves could have gone away, but somebody else could have decided to go away, and that would have been the end of my business. So I was always on tenterhooks. For the first time in my life, I feel real security because we know now that we own our space. And I don't mean to make this sound like, oh, I own the space, but our relationship with you folks, with our community, is our relationship. We've worked hard to build it. We've built trust. We've built a solid relationship, and we've built a business set against that. And because our business is a dialogue, we're constantly listening to what our community is telling us they want more of. I feel a sense of security because I know that as things change, as needs adapt, we can adapt with it because we're not working in a vacuum. The changes are going to happen in full daylight with us because we're having the conversations. So at this age, to suddenly feel financial security in this world where security is, where we're becoming increasingly sensitive and insecure, it's a wonderful thing. It's a good place to be. So we have that. So there, I'll get off the soapbox over that.
No worries. Cindy is saying, is this program a fixed start time, or can people join at any point?
That is the big difference. One of the big differences between a membership like ours and an online course is it's open-ended. It's always going. We don't open and close the cart doors. I think if we had a big influx of students come in that we couldn't ingest all at once, we would close the membership or the entry for a short period of time. But it is, you sign up when you have time, and because every single lesson that we have is recorded and is in the archives. The live schedule of how we deliver our new live content is we follow the same routine, so you can plan and you can schedule your time around it, and we try and keep the amount of time that you have to commit to actually showing up to a minimum, because A, people are in different time zones around the world, and B, we've all got busy lives, so we don't want to force you to cancel something else in order to be there. But generally speaking, there's the first week of the month, there's an hour on Tuesday morning our time, and I'm in Pacific time, where we deliver our main content. And that's our first lesson, and that's done as a webinar with video inserted, and it is a detailed training on the topic. So next month, we are teaching about building your website. It is techniques for building your website and things for you to consider. Following that, the second week of the month, on the Tuesday, we have a Q&A, a live Q&A, which we host in Zoom, where you get to ask us questions and we answer as many questions as we can in about an hour. Now, the key to that is it tells us, with the questions you have, the important things that our community was interested in that we didn't answer in our first training. Because you've taken the training and you still have questions, obviously we didn't teach what you needed to know. So that through those questions, we then answer those questions, and any ones that we feel we missed in the initial training, we create additional ancillary content for, and we record videos or we create PDFs and downloads for that content. And in the third week, we drop all of that content. So the course then is pretty much complete for that module by the end of the second week. Then in the third week, we release that module. And in the fourth week, we have a roundtable where we bring in outsiders and we bring in different perspectives around that particular topic. And so that's how we put it all together. We actually teach this technique on building courses, using a webinar as the base, and then using a small group with the questions and answers to validate the content. And it's the quickest and most efficient way to build a course. It's a technique that I call rapid course development, and we've pioneered it. We've done it so many times for delivering our content. And there's no better way to deliver dynamic content that's really information dense and rich and on point without a lot of fluff than this particular technique. And we use it month after month. So every year, we've got 12 new modules that will be part of the Gray Wave membership as we move along. So it's, again, going back to, because I know I took a very circuitous route, there's not a start and stop time. When you start is when you start, and then you will, most people, I think, take the month's training that we're doing, and then usually they take one other kind of, they look into one other aspect kind of in the month, depending on what their time is, or as needs arise. If you're about to embark on doing some list building activities and you want to do some list builders, you'll go back and you'll revisit our content in the list building module, for example.
We have some Canadian friends, so
Yay!
They were asking about Canadian discounts, and I just mentioned to email me for details at april@dottotech.com.
Yeah. So our pricing philosophy on the Gray Wave is that the price is the price. We don't play any games. So don't worry that on Black Friday we'll have a sale on, and if you would only waited for 2 weeks, you could have got a better deal. So we've set our pricing, which is what it is, which is right now which is $3.99 for your first month, and then $99 a month going monthly. And if you decide to purchase annually, you can save money. The first year is $12.99 or $11.99, and subsequent years are $9.99, all in US dollars. But some of our jurisdictions, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, we are what I call currency challenged because of the strength of the US dollar. All of our bills are in US funds, and our e-commerce system, how we have to pick a currency for, so our currency system is US funds. However, recognizing that some jurisdictions we do have that the US dollar is just kind of clobbering us right now, we do have a slight discount that we can offer for our Canadian and Australian and New Zealand friends. So in Icelandic, I think the Icelandiers reached out to us the other day. So just drop April an email. But as far as as far as giving you confidence, the pricing is always going to stay the same. We will increase the price over time as we have more equity, as we have more content within the course, and as the membership grows, because we don't want it to ever get too large, but we want to recognize the value as it increases. So this price, and everybody that's in it with the current pricing, $99 a month, they'll be grandfathered in. Even if we increase, and when we increase the monthly fee, you will still be at the same price.
And that was that actually was one of those questions, because it is an ongoing membership and joining at any time. Is there anything that's there about joining now as opposed to in 2021?
Let me talk about that in a moment. First of all, I got to say, Jon Snow, you know nothing, Jon Snow. How many times have you heard that? But here's the thing. We're all seniors. There is no senior discount because we're all seniors. But this is the senior
I don't know how it is in Canada, but in the US, usually Tuesdays are senior citizen day.
You know what we should have, now that John brings it up? Thank you, John. Instead of having a senior discount, we should have a millennial surcharge for any of those wet-nosed kids that want to get into the course. What do you think, guys? A millennial surcharge? I think that is just a great idea. So if you decide to join later, that's great. You know, when we launched it, with the launch webinar, you always want to create pressure points within any sales pitch that you give that encourages your community to get off the snide and to make that purchase. And so you can do that by adding bonuses, time limited bonuses. Often it'll be done by giving a price that's going to go away, that'll decay over time. And I call that false scarcity, because I just think that that's being manipulative, and I don't agree with those social triggers to create sales. Although we teach them and they work, and there's certainly understanding human nature in how we buy and how we sell. I think that's an important thing that we should pay attention to. The pricing model and having the pricing change over time is something that we could certainly leverage in order to get people to rush and purchase. We will increase the price over time, as I've said, but I believe that we already have scarcity. Most of you who are on with me right now are boomers or Gen X, and I don't want to get too maudlin, but we recognize that the clock is ticking. You know, with each circuit of the sun, I get more and more. I get more and more anxious, more and more driven to complete what I want to complete here on Earth before I'm done. And so while I can, I think that you could learn and you could start an online business and you could make all the mistakes and you could grow it. Do you really want to spend the 10 years it's taken me to get to the point of success? Or if we can give you a fast track, if we can teach you the things that you need to know and introduce you to people who can help you get there, because our online community is a phenomenal resource. Everything about the Gray Wave is designed to fast track this process. I have every bit of faith that if you decide to just look at free content and start consuming podcasts and pay attention to live streams like this, that you can learn the basis of building an online business and you can cobble it together. You will make mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes even if you're with us, but you'll make more mistakes on your own, and you'll kind of have to do it by its own natural progression. We can shorten the time curve. We can get you in 6 months. We can get you where you would be a year or 2 years down the road by following our programs and by taking advantage of the advice and the experience and the people that we have to share with you. So for me, there is scarcity, but it's Mother Nature scarcity. Time's ticking. And if you want to make a difference, the time is now. I think we all can be kind of mature enough to recognize that fact. Well, that was a T-shirt that I saw the other day. Don't mess with senior citizens, because for me, a life sentence is not what it used to be. So just recognizing that we have to make the most of the gift of time that we are given.
Let's see. Why don't you talk a little bit about the Facebook group and the community, because I think that's super helpful.
So some of you are here in our Gray Zone group, which is the precursor group to the Gray Wave group, which is our private Facebook group for the Gray Wave. When we built the community, one of the things that I recognized is that there's nothing more important than mentorship. And those of us who build an online business, we face a kind of a unique challenge. When I go to a party, when I could go to a party before the pandemic shut down partying, and I told people I was a YouTube creator or a content creator, they looked at me like I was from Mars. I was speaking a different language. Nobody understood what I did. And I had to, you could make a living doing that. Back when I was on TV, I'd go to a party and they said, "What do you do?" "Oh, I have a TV show." "Oh yeah, that's it." They understood that's a business. They understood. You have a YouTube channel. How can that possibly be a business? That's ridiculous. What are you goofing around? And so they just don't understand. Consequently, and neither does my family. And neither does your family. If you're thinking about building an online business, chances are your family's going to go, just humor him. It's a phase. They think we're going through a phase that will pass, or we're being led down the garden path by somebody. But there isn't the understanding, because nobody has that experience. They've never done it. So it's foreign to them. And that fact that it's different is scary, and they don't believe it. This means that within your inner circle, you don't have trusted advisors that can help you when you're up against it, or when you have success, you have nobody to share it with, because they don't realize what you've gone through. And when you have failures, you have nobody to bounce it off of to help you see through the trees through the forest, and help you recognize what you could do better, and give you encouragement that you can indeed do better. So having that community was essential. And with the COVID epidemic clamping things down, we don't have opportunities to even go to conferences and get those one-on-one connections that so many of us in the online marketing space just have made a big difference. For me, April and I met at Social Media Marketing World. That's how she got on the team, is we began a relationship there, and sitting down at Kim Garst's dinner, right, April? We were sitting side by side at Kim Garst's dinner. And 6 months later, I had some needs that for somebody to help me with Infusionsoft, and I reached out to April, and she's been with me ever since. These relationships and the advice that you get from those people, invaluable, and we wanted to recreate that. So we built the Facebook community, and everybody who joins the Gray Wave, they join with the understanding that they're expected to participate in this community, that they're expected to trust the community enough to ask them the difficult questions when they're being challenged. And they're also expected to be there to support others when they need the support, that we have a two-way street going. So people are posting in the community that they're going to be doing a webinar coming up and they want to do a trial run. Well, they'll get a half a dozen people jump in, watch, and give them feedback. Or they share, "Here's my new landing page. What do you think of it?" And they'll get people jumping in and giving advice on it. "This is what I'm thinking about doing for my podcast." They get feedback from people who understand and are going through the same process at different points on the path with different background and experience, but we all understand the same business philosophy. And I think because we're all baby boomers and we're all Gen Xers, I think we share a lot of the same moral code too, the same work ethic, and we value the same things. It's become a really nurturing and wonderful community. April is the community manager. She's in there every day, and every day I go in and I just read through, and it's honestly one of the best parts of the day. It just makes me feel good to see the talent and the humanity of the group.
Agreed. Claudette had a question. "I have a blog with 2,000 followers and regular comments in regular comments and dialogue. My stories are well received and people ask for more. I'm told Kindle is the way to go, but I have an eye on Patreon. Any suggestions?
Oh, it's tough to say right out of the gate. So Kindle, the thing about Patreon, for those of you that don't know, Patreon is a crowdfunding site which is designed to support content creators. So for authors, it's great. I like the idea of something like a Patreon for somebody like you. Is it serial content? Could you just are they standalone stories? Do you know, April?
I'm sorry, I don't know. It just says blogs. It just said blogs. Sorry.
It's the beauty of Patreon over top of just Kindle. Kindle might make a fine publishing platform, but Kindle doesn't engender conversation. If you post your blog on a blog site, if you post it on Facebook, if you post it in any publishing platform where there are comments, which Patreon would have, and Patreon would also have a revenue engine attached to it. But if you post your content there, and then you have an opportunity for people to give you comments back, and you get to engage in conversations, and those conversations build to the relationships, and that is what's going to convert people from readers into fans. And what's that book? If you have 1,000 fans, you have it made. So that's, I think, where you get the opportunity. If you are touching people with your writing, you will cement that relationship by having conversations with them. So regardless of where you go, make sure it's a place that you have time and you have the ability to honor their engagement to you, them reaching out back to you by engaging with them. And that is magic sauce. So Patreon would be a great place to start. I mean, I'd need to know a little bit more detail and kind of see what you have in place already if I was going to give you more granular advice, but you're on the right path. I think a pure publishing platform, although it has massive reach, like Kindle is probably, it might work, but I think it's going to be a lot harder for you to create the engagement that you can want.
I'm sorry. She said it was standalone.
Okay. Even though they're standalone, because serial content also works really well. But I stand by what I said as far as the engagement goes. So good luck and let us know how it goes.
All right. There was another question, but I'm looking. I can't remember if I saw it in the group because I actually can't move the chat here in the thing. So let's see.
Yeah, Susan's on point. The community feedback will be so helpful. That's one tricky thing about doing everything yourself. It is. And having somebody, it's so nice to be able to share what you do, especially when you have a little failure. It's nice to have people pick you up. But I think it's even more important for us to share our success because it's like fertilizer that causes everybody else to get excited and to grow. It's one of the reasons we're so transparent with the community about how the community itself is growing and how many people are signing up and all of that sort of stuff, because people want to know that the effort, they've seen the effort. People in our community have seen how hard we've worked on it. They want to know that if they put that much effort in, they can see the same kind of success as we're seeing. Right. So it's a great place.
Well, and one of the things too in the orientation that I made sure to show members exactly where they could see what other people were posting. So not to be shy and share with the group to make sure that you are getting that feedback. I found that question I was looking for. Let's see. Currently, I'm working out an idea. See if it can hold. So for now, I have the feeling joining is a bit too soon, but on the other hand, don't want to miss out on it. So what are your thoughts?
The only thought is only you know what path you're on and how much time you have. We do have a money back guarantee. But here's the thing, if you think it's too early, and this is going to sound salesy but it's probably time, because it sounds like you're looking for a reason to double down and to really get focused. Getting started, getting those first steps, getting on the path and getting moving is such a difficult point. There's lots of different points that we're going to hit that we're going to get bogged down. But as you've been daydreaming about the idea and you want to move in the direction, if you've decided you want to move in the direction, what's holding you back? You're only losing time by not doing it. You might end up in the same place, but you might end up in the same place 6 months down the road or a year down the road. If you've decided that this is for you and you've got and you are going to make it work, what's the point of waiting? Sometimes there's legitimate. Sometimes you have to get something off of, you've got a big wedding coming up in the family that you want to just get past because you don't want the things. Those sorts of things are legit. But if it's just normal cycle of business and you're just kind of sitting there waiting and you go to bed at night and you say, I'd really like to have this business, it would be a lot of fun. And you listen to podcasts and you go, yeah, that'd be a great idea. And you're just kind of stuck in that spectator phase. It's time to get kickstarted and get out of it. Quite often the thing that's holding people back at that point is fear of failure or imposter syndrome, where you're not sure that you're going to be able to succeed, or you're afraid of failing, which is endemic in our community. And I won't go into a big long explanation of that right now, but that's something that just is something that we all have to struggle with and get past. Because what's the worst that could happen is you could float your first product, fail, learn a lot from it, and put you in place to do the next one. None of these are death sentences. When we build it, even if the gray wave hadn't worked for us, it wouldn't be a death sentence to Dottotech. It would be a great learning experience, a great painful learning experience, but a learning experience nonetheless. And we would have re-entrenched, regrouped, and then moved ahead. So there's nothing to learn. I do have one question here. Let me jump over to Jeff. Jeff says, is this a step-by-step, cut and dry process of building an online business, or is it just the standard how to do videos? How do you present affiliate marketing or building courses that are different from anyone? I'm trying to wrap my mind around the high cost of my membership. Well, we do have within the membership, we do have some of those courses. We have this is how you make videos for YouTube. We've got a module that teaches that from one of our previous courses. But we definitely deal with the business philosophy and the steps that you need to take in order to build it. A lot of the questions that our members have is often just on the technology, and a lot of the in helping them overcome overcome just confusion from so many, what do they call it, analysis paralysis, where there's so many different tools to choose or so many different directions, and getting them on the path. We do a lot of step-by-step instruction once we get tactical. Things like the list building module. This is how you build a list. This is how you segment the list as you're bringing it into your email so you can use it in the future. So I would say it's a hybrid of both, because both have to be taught. The cost of membership, I don't know if I would consider it to be a high cost of membership. Every week, every month, we deliver a brand new module of training, which if we delivered it as a standalone course, we would charge anywhere between $79 and $500 for each module. You get that every month. That alone, I think, justifies the cost of the membership. And then as a bonus, you get membership access to the community, which is probably worth the price of admission all on its own, because you have access to like-minded individuals who can help you get over the humps, and you'll build business relationships with many of them. The community is a big special part. So the actual philosophy of the community is we want to teach you about the basic principles. Could you learn them elsewhere? Yeah, I've had to learn them elsewhere. I've had to learn them by making my mistakes and by listening to other podcasts and by talking to my mentors. It's all stuff that you can learn in other spaces. It's how we present it and how we support it that I think makes the community special.
Let's see. I am not seeing any more questions. I'm looking at the different
Oh, there's something here about, did you see the first comment, Bob Howe?
I've been chatting with him. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to.
You're talking about the They Ask You Answer book?
No, he's all set. I'm going to email him after.
Great stuff. Good. Well, how are we doing for time? We're 48 minutes in. Do we have more questions? I think we can wrap things up.
I think we can wrap things up. You might just want to drop the link into the into your side, because I can't do it on the channel.
So there's a link to the sales page, which covers all of the content. If you have any questions, there is a form there to reach out to us. We get back to you as quickly as we can. We've into all of our new members, some of which are here. Welcome aboard. We are thrilled to have you. And we'll be doing this on a regular basis. In this time slot, coming back finally starting in November, we'll be back with the Gray Matters podcast. We're going to be delivering the Gray Matters podcast as a live stream initially, and then releasing the recordings thereafter. We've been so caught up with, and I feel so guilty about this, we've been so caught up with the launch of the community that I have let some of my other publishing work slide but I am really looking forward to getting back onto the mic for Gray Matters, the podcast. Thank you so much, April. Thank you. It's
Thanks, guys, for coming.
Enjoy your Halloween tomorrow. Everybody, happy Halloween, and stay safe. And we'll see you next time we do this. Okay? Yeah.
All right.
Until next time.
So much.
Have fun storming the castle.
Have a great weekend.